I just did something I haven't done in around 8 years. I watched 5 episodes of anime back to back. Now, that probably doesn't sound like a big deal, but for someone who genuinely thought they'd fallen out of love with anime, it is. And the strangest part, the anime that pulled me back was Witch Hat Atelier. Which is funny, because when I first heard about it, I thought it sounded painfully average. To explain why this series affected me so much, I need to go back a bit. I've been an anime fan since stumbling across Cowboy Bebop late at night on CNX here in the UK. That one random night turned into years of obsession. Since then, I've watched hundreds of series and films. I even ended up working in the anime industry, both in Japan and back home in the UK. I met producers, directors, people whose work I had admired for years. Honestly, it was the dream. But somewhere around 2018, something started to change. Very slowly, I became less interested in actually watching anime. I still kept up with things here and there. I'd read a manga recommendation, watch the occasional seasonal show, but the excitement was gone. Entire seasons would pass me by and I just didn't care. At first, I just assumed it was my age, but then I'd speak to my friends, who were my age or older, and they were still completely engaged, still discovering new favourites, still excited every season. So then I started wondering if it was because of work, maybe seeing the industry from the inside had changed something. Whatever the reason was, I struggled to connect with anime in the way that I used to. And I'm not saying that anime went downhill, but I struggled to connect with shows. And then came Witch Hat Atelier, which I mentioned before I thought sounded painfully average. A young girl, fascinated by magic, becomes involved in the world of mages. It didn't really sound that original. But when I started watching it, I suddenly found that none of that mattered. For the first time in years, I genuinely wanted to watch the next episode immediately after finishing the previous one. I watched episodes 1 and 2 during my lunch break yesterday, and then today I sat down and watched the rest in one go. We're currently on episode 7 and I cannot wait for episode 8 to drop. What immediately grabbed me was how patient the show is. It isn't afraid to slow down. It takes its time introducing characters, motivations, relationships, insecurities, and in a world where everything feels designed around doom scrolling and instant gratification, that pacing feels almost refreshing. It's nice to have something taking its time to reveal what each character's motivations are. The series lets things unfold gradually. Characters that feel one-dimensional are slowly showing more, and I find myself wondering what each of them has actually been through to end up with Keyfree. There was a particular moment I enjoyed when Tetia, the show's happy-go-lucky, thank you for thanking me character, had a moment of despair, and in that despair a deeper side of her was shown. It wasn't melodramatic or some massive tragic monologue, it was just vulnerability, which showed that there's more going on beneath the surface. And those slow burn character moments are exactly what elevate the series for me. The mystery helps too. The antagonists, who go by the very scary title of the Brimmed Hats, what do they actually want with Coco? Why is Keyfree so desperate to find them? The series constantly gives you just enough intrigue to keep pulling you forward. And then I have to mention the magic system. I'm an absolute sucker for detailed magic systems. Over the last few years, I've completely devoured Brandon Sanderson's Cosmere series and Robert Jordan's The Wheel of Time. So this kind of thing grabs me. The magic here isn't based on vague wish fulfillment or waving a wand around dramatically. Magic is created through carefully drawn runes, using special ink, which are then circled to activate a spell. And the neatness and size decides the strength of the spell too, which unfortunately means I would never be a mage in this world, because my handwriting looks like I'm physically fighting the pen. I wish I was being dramatic. But seriously, I cannot wait to find out more about the magic as the story continues. Now, to be clear, while I love the show, I don't think it's flawless. Some of the humour can feel a little overdone, and it actually reminds me of one of my few criticisms of Fullmetal Alchemist. Sometimes anime has a habit of interrupting emotional tension with exaggerated comedy at the wrong moments, and Witch Hat Atelier occasionally falls into that trap. There's also that very specific anime problem where urgency suddenly stops existing because the plot needs a conversation first. Keyfree, my man, that guy's son is in danger. Move. We do not need a dramatic discussion about whether your apprentices should come along right now. So no, I'm not saying the series is perfect, but honestly it doesn't need to be, because what has surprised me most was the feeling it's given me. Because for the first time in years, I wasn't watching anime out of habit or obligation or industry curiosity. I was watching because I genuinely couldn't wait to find out what's going to happen next. And I've forgotten how special that feels. It's not just the animation or the soundtrack or the characters or even the story itself. It's the way all of those things come together to create that very specific feeling that made me fall in love with anime in the first place. And I thought I'd lost that, but I guess I hadn't. I was just waiting for the right series to come along. Now, if you have any recommendations from 2018 onwards, please let me know in the comments because I have a lot of catching up to do. If you've made it this far, thank you for watching. Please consider liking and subscribing. See you soon.